the amount of land we need for the sugar, the type of sugar we can grow here, all those things were not properly organized. I think the ASR organization, and also the between strategic investor, and also it to me about Bisomu.
President Akufo-Addo making a promise to the people of Komenda. That was 5 years ago.
The Sugar Factory. Still, some civil works are being done there. Nyampa, by the end of March, it will be completed. And as I say planning, no Indian phone by whatever by April, production will have begun of the sugar factory.
President Akufo-Addo promising the people of Komenda again when the chiefs of Komenda paid him a visit at the Jubilee House. And yet another promise in 2021.
According to Chairman and the people in the Ministry of Trade, arrangements are by the first quarter of 2022, now factory is going to start running again.
And another one in 2022. Other promises have been made to the people of Komenda by the president, but each time their hopes are dashed.
Unrefined sugar setup this one.
The setup for the unrefined sugar is too small.
See, I try machinery. I am his machinery.
Deputy Trades and Industry Minister Michael Ochibefi announcing that government will be importing raw sugar to feed the factory.
Now the best we can do is because of America.
Now the best we can do is to import raw or unrefined sugar from South America until we get our own plantation.
The latest is Works and Housing Minister Kojo Opon-Kroma. Mr. Opon-Kroma, who was on a tour in the area, told the chiefs and people government needed their support in order to operationalize the factory.
Processed.
We don't have a plantation to feed the factory. What is left is to get raw sugar or unrefined sugar. When they are bringing it like that, government needs to waive the taxes on it to make it affordable. Our friends on the other side do not want to support it. We are appealing to you to intervene so they can allow us get the unrefined sugar to operationalize the factory.
This hasn't gone down well with the people.
Ministers what ba be do no I won pay me bufu ti man say me carpenter ni ti me ti there say minister.
I get angry the deception by some ministers who come here. I am a carpenter, so when I hear that a minister is coming, I know that he won't come and say anything good. I only have to concentrate on the job I have learned to take care of my family.
Akufo-Addo amba Komenda amba ka asem pepe bia ma engine ndi asa wa gban so many years obado
I won't say anything that President Akufo-Addo says.
Second 4 years
consistently
also
lying to us. The last 4 years he deceived, and he deceived us in his second term as well. So does he expect us to vote for him when he failed both?
In the market square here, scores of people have gathered in an indistinct chatter. The Komenda Sugar Factory is one of the conversations that does not struggle to find place in what folks talk about here.
They have wasted the land. We could have used it to build a mansion. It is better than leaving it in the state in which it is now. People feel that the Komenda Sugar building is a deity.
Since 2015, meanwhile, I'm property. Since I'm property, Ghana property. Commander. Now that's why the workers are off. I didn't use for nothing.
Ishmael Kobna talks passionately about the Komenda Sugar Factory and how disappointed the community folk are.
Sugar factory now, when we are sure,
they have not planted any sugarcane here. Our prayer was that they would have grown some sugarcane to feed the factory. What we have observed is that the thought processes of our leaders is questionable.
The disappointment of Francis knows no bounds. Francis and his colleagues here say they have lost hope in government.
There was a now me menduntum sabu hey we asaso he kra inko asaso pi.
People are saying that they say they will import raw sugar to feed the factory. What we wanted was for them to support the farmers to plant the required sugarcane. This is really appalling.
I will say that in Kobasina there, we stay with similar would drink a and Captain Cashew.
The factory, commissioned in 2016 with a $35 million Indian Export-Import Bank loan facility and an additional $24 million to bolster the activities of sugarcane outgrowers, suffered operational challenges and does not produce any sugar for the market. The residents here say they won't forgive government for looking on for such a project to go waste. Heading to the Komenda Sugar Factory, I meet Isaac Boama. Isaac says he is MPP but is embarrassed by the turn of event here. He says day in and day out, he gets trolled by his people over the Komenda Sugar Factory and want government not to let down the trust of the people.
Commander drivers in Yasha self fatisio, Shashi be wide mouth for two. Ibian do Mukomba in a brani bre, and see a Akufo-Addo.
We don't know what is even happening. We have been looking forward for the factory to be operationalized so we the drivers can get a boost in our work. We are suffering. We are pleading with the president to operationalize the factory. They always troll me about this sugar factory. It is because of Percy, who is contesting the KEEA seat. That's why I am in the
NPP.
Former board secretary of the Komenda Sugar Factory, Ransford Vani Amwa, believes government posture about the Komenda Sugar Factory leaves much to be desired and want government to fix the mess.
So from 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, they still no grew sugarcane. They've not assessed that second tranche of loan, which was approved by Parliament of Ghana. And only to tell us that because we did not develop the canes, that is why they want to import sugar. And they are requesting for a tax waiver so that they will be able to. It's a deception. They only want to deceive the people of Ghana.
Upon an RTR request by Joy News, government has revealed that apart from the $35 million and the additional $24 million facility, government has further pumped in over 52 million Ghana cedis.
In 2019, government indicates that there was an offer by Pak Agrotech to take up a concession instead of outright purchase of the Komenda Sugar Factory. The offer was considered the most competitive because the ownership of the factory would be retained by government, whilst Pak Agrotech invests $28 million in the company and pays a $3 million annual concession fee to government for 15 years. That is a total of $45 million. However, there was a delay in concluding negotiations between lawyers of Pak Agrotech and PwC in respect of the conditions precedent for the concession agreement to come into force, citing COVID-19 restrictions. Pak Agrotech couldn't meet the deadline to reach a final determination of all guarantees, and the Ministry of Trade terminated the transaction, and the management and operation of the company was handed over to the board to make a determination on the way forward to revive the company. According to the ministry, to avert further delays, the board took over the revival of the factory and started the process of operationalizing the integrated sugar development project with the support of the ministry and the One District, One Factory initiative. A facility of 46,350,000 Ghana cedis has to date been disbursed by the partnering financial institutions, that is, GCB Bank, CBG Bank, and Prudential Bank, for the comprehensive overhauling and retooling of the factory and the addition of a raw sugar handling system to refine raw sugar. Another facility of 6.2 million Ghana cedis was also disbursed by CBG Bank to cover the purchase of sugarcane and other operational expenses during the test run period.
On the streets of Komenda are thousands of eyes and ears still eagerly waiting for government to do the needful by ensuring that all these monies pumped into the revival of the sugar factory do not go down the drain. Richard Kwejonyako, Joy News, Komenda.
This conversation on the Komenda Sugar Factory. 30+ million invested initially. Now we've been told that over 50 million Ghana cedis has also been pumped into that white elephant. What is the way forward? We start that conversation. Sweetie Abochi is here.
Yeah, we do have the ranking member on the Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee in Parliament, as well as an opinion leader in Komenda, Isaac Mensah. Both of them will be joining us to get into the nitty-gritty of what's happening really at Komenda in terms of the operationalization of the sugar factory. I think we should start by listening to the opinion leader, Ben,
Indeed.
and then we'll bring in the ranking member. So, Isaac Mensah, if you can hear me, thank you for joining the program.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So we've watched the documentary, we've listened to some of the people speak. Most of them are saying that even when the ministers are coming, they don't think they're going to say anything other than what they've experienced themselves. But you tell me, what is the situation as we speak? And what are the people saying?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I want to use this medium to say good morning to everybody who's listening to Joy News, and also the good job that you are doing to serve the good people of Ghana and beyond. On a more serious note, if you mention Komenda Sugar Factory, then you step the wounds of the Komenda citizens. It is very painful. But I'm so emotional, I'm in tears, as you mentioned the sugar factory. It is one of the factories that serves, if I'm not mistaken, the whole central region. But what really worries me so much, Akufo-Addo, our government promised Ghanaians they want to move from God's regime into industrialization. Whatever they are going to do for this nation is bad. Industrializing, promising a whole lot of things, bring hopes to Ghanaians. And they promise 1D, 1F. But now, there is a factory ready built by the XY Mahama government. They have built completed. But they were accusing the government that they did not do diligence by not planting sugarcane. How long for sugarcane to be planted? How long? Sugarcane, how long does it take for it to grow? So now, as we are speaking, the factory has been abandoned. If you go there, you will not see anything there besides snails, grass cutters, school, and what have you. Nothing is going on there. We don't know what we have done to Akufo-Addo. We don't really know what we have done. Before Komenda and its values will suffer such, painful situation like this. The olden time sugar factory, the whole sugarcane plantation that they were using for the factory for milling was being produced by Komenda and its values. The Komenda and its, that's Komenda traditional area. That's where they were having the sugarcane plantation to feed the factory. But then as I'm speaking to you, if you go to Tema, they have cocoa processing factory there. Ask me where of Tema, the whole community, that they have one cocoa tree over there. But they are producing there. If you think they don't have a space for Komenda to get the sugarcane, you can extend your hand because Ghana is Ghana. And to my surprise, we traveled to our mechanism then, during the then Minister of Trade and Industry, in charge of industries. We met him and this man contracted us. He charged us that we should make sure to acquire a land of 1,000+ acres. I mean, we got more than 20,000 acres land, virgin land.
Are you saying that the former Trade and Industry Minister, Alan Chamanting, directed you to acquire 1,000 acres of land, and you acquired more than that?
More than that.
Wait,
more than,
Isaac,
more
hold
than
for me. I just, for
15,000
clarity,
plus acres.
Isaac, hold on a second.
Sure.
Now, the government is saying that there's no plantation to feed this factory. Was there any point in time where the people of Komenda or neighboring communities actually planted sugarcane, for clarity's sake?
We have a lot of sugarcane around Komenda and enclaves. If you travel from Komenda, you went to the hinterland of Komenda, you see a lot of sugarcane. People are now, cultivating the sugarcane, turning into molasses.
Yes,
and then,
I'm asking you that upon that directive that you should acquire that 10,000 acres of land, did you actually proceed to plant these sugar canes for the purpose of feeding the factory?
No, we were asked to make sure that we acquire such land. If you can really get the land, they are prepared to make sure that they will come and then put that land into use by planting sugar cane. And we'll make sure that we got more than that from such a human. A very vast land, virgin land. Even there was a prayer that passes through, which means in case of irrigation, they will not find it difficult to irrigate those farms. And we just acquired the land, we reported and everything, and there was nothing done as I'm speaking to you. Nothing done. We did not hear from our mechanism again before. Finally, I don't know whether he was fired or he retired or resigned or what have you. As I speak to you, nothing has happened. We don't know what is happening. We don't know what is going on.
Can you describe the current state of the factory to us? Do you think it's ready to go?
I can describe to you as a container from a container which are broadcast from maybe the hinterland, they're now being painted. A container will be being painted, be repainted. That is what I can really tell you about the factory. They just came to paint the place and read around, and now as I speak to you, if you go there, you see trees, all sort of. In fact, it's very appalling. It would be very good that you come to the ground and see things yourself. I don't want to exaggerate. I don't want to say something that may be sound so something in somebody's ear. But if you come to the ground to see what is happening, whether you like it or not, they promise us heaven, but we are now going into hell, deep down to hell. We don't know what is happening.
All right.
People of Komenda, look, man, let me tell you one thing. Komenda is a fancy area. Let me just give you this scenario. And Komenda, the fancy areas, we being named Kofi, Kwame, Kojo, what have you. But during the era factory, during the old time factory, if you come to Komenda, you will hear the name Achipo, you hear Kokuvi, you hear all sort of words of Ghanaian citizens were then residing in Komenda because of the factory. So the factory was then feeding Ghana, not Central region. It was feeding Ghana, even down to even Nigerians and Liberians were even down here working. So it's more or less feeding even West Africa. That factory alone, it was feeding a lot of people in the state of Africa, if I'm not mistaken. But surprisingly now, even during that era, the factory then wasn't big like this one. This is bigger than that one. So I believe when they'll be able to put this one in operation, it will help and it will save this nation from where we are finding ourselves. Now look at the amount of money that they spend for importing.
All right, Isaac, don't go away. Hold, stay on the line with us. Benjamin, he's saying that this factory is now a container that has been painted and repainted. Should we speak to the ranking member now?
I think we should. Mr. Suleimana, thank you for joining the conversation. Good morning to you, sir. Yusuf Suleimana, if you can hear me, please unmute.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Suleimana, can you hear me? All right, so we'll try to get Yusuf Suleimana back. Maybe we can continue with the conversation with the opinion leader and get Yusuf when he's available.
So, Isaac, what are you asking the government for as we speak? What are your demands? What are you requesting the government to do as pertaining this sugar factory that you have described as a container that's just been repainted and repainted with no use?
Yeah, let me tell you, Frank, framework is not a cheat. There's nothing, and absolutely nothing this government can do for the people of Komenda now, as I speak to you. How long for the election to take place? So whatever any attempt that they make, which means they want to come and deceive people of this very, holy state, because this place is called Holy Komenda. Any attempt that they make now, I don't think people will really take them serious, because we know politicians always come dominate, action. But we are going.
Isaac, I must say that. Isaac, I must say that's not progressive. If you say that there's nothing they can do or say that will, turn the situation around. But this is where we are, and we need to proffer solutions. What are you asking for? They'll take you seriously this time. What are your demands?
My demand, if indeed they promise 1B, 1F, the fact is already about. They should come and do the needful. Whatever is expected for them to help the people of the nation and help the people of Command and Central Region and beyond, they should just come and do something. Before, I don't know what happened. They should come and do what they promised Ghanaians, that they want to create jobs. Industrialization. We are just waiting for them to come and do whatever they promised us. The hope that they gave us was so huge. But they put hopes in us that we need to know that we've got somebody that is going to really turn Ghana into heaven. But we don't know that. We are now going into the grave, not even into the hell, but grave. What is happening?
All right. Don't go away, though. Hold for us.
Let's bring in Yusuf Suleimana. Yusuf is, of course, ranking member on the Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee of Parliament. Mr. Suleimana, good morning.
Ben, good morning. How are you?
I am well. Under the circumstances, I hope you're well too.
I'm doing well.
Right. When you look at the Komenda Sugar Factory, it is one of those blots on our national conscience. Tor, Komenda, in my mind. But when you look at Komenda today, after the investments of your administration and the investments of this administration still lying fallow, what do you see?
Ben, I think you rightly described the state of the Komenda Sugar Factory as a white elephant. It is a white elephant because the objectives for which it was set out to do, none of these objectives have been achieved. The then government decided to invest in the Komenda Sugar Factory, one, in order that we are able to create jobs, both direct and indirect jobs. As I speak to you today, the Komenda Sugar Factory has not been able to employ anybody. So in that respect, it is a white elephant. Again, it was set up to also ensure that we have sugar importation drastically reduced into this country. And for that matter, to become an import substitution factory. That has not been achieved. And then again, if we had done that, it was going to also strengthen our city. That also has failed us. So clearly, I agree that it is a white elephant. And the most interesting part of it is the deceit of the people, government.
Hello, Mr. Suleimana. Yusuf Suleimana, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me, Mr. Suleimana? We appear to be...
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you now. We lost you for a few seconds, about 5 seconds. All right, we'll have to reach out to Yusuf Suleimana one more time. But of course, we're having these conversations on the back of what our latest Hotline documentary reveals as far as the Komenda Sugar Factory is concerned. This sugar factory goes way back in time. Even planning into the days of Nkrumah, it was bequeathed to us. And since that time, we've been playing tag with it. This government comes, touches, let's go. Another government comes, touches, let's go. It's like playing, when children are playing tag, you're it. And then they touch you and it's just touch and go. And the promises, what kills me? Sometimes how our leaders, past and present, can look us in the eye, tell us, oh, we'll do this by this time, by that, and nothing. I mean.
And that's why the people are frustrated. They said they don't even expect them to say anything more than what they've said and haven't done. And I think we just we reconnected with the ranking member, and he was in the middle of making a point.
Yusuf Suleimana, please go ahead.
Ben, I was saying that I rightly agree with you when you describe the Komenda Sugar Factory as a white elephant. It is a white elephant because all the objectives that it was set out to achieve were failed in achieving them. One, it was to create jobs.
I think we got that part. We got that part
okay.
about
So where do I continue from? Because I lost the conversation.
So I want you to continue from the fact that both your administration and this current administration have failed to get this up and running. I mean, as ranking member on this committee, I don't know how much you've done in recent times since there's been a reshuffle and all of that, but how much you've done in recent times to salvage the situation. Look, this administration is also saying it has pumped in over 50 million Ghana cedis. 50 million Ghana cedis. That's what, about $3 million plus to get this up and running after your investment. Still, nothing to show for it. Where are we going?
Ben, let me disagree with you that you cannot describe the intervention of the NDC as a failure. We have been able to revive the factory to the point that it was rehabilitated, and we test ran the system. Don't forget, when the MPP came into administration, there was an audit by the PricewaterhouseCoopers, and the report is there for all of us to see. They had admitted that some interventions had taken place and that the current government was supposed to now do ABCD in order to be able to operationalize the factory. They failed in doing that. They allowed the system to stay there for a while and got rotten, and then they decided to sell it out, which didn't work out, okay? And so they had to go in for AgroPark in terms of asking them to come in, partner them to run it. That didn't materialize because they had even gone to deceive the people that AgroPark was coming to start job within 2 months' time in that particular year, around 2019.
Mr. Suleimana, I remember former President Mahama talking, waxing lyrical about the Komenda Sugar Factory, saying it was going to produce sugar. Everything was in place and all of that. What happened?
Yes, everything was in place because once the factory was set up, the next was to also have a source of raw material. And the NDC government had contracted about $24 million to be given to farmers to produce sugarcane. And if we had done that, we would have been able to raise enough raw material to be able to process, to be able to manufacture the sugar. This government decided not to draw down that facility. And that's one of the sources of the problem. So you don't blame the NDC for not putting in place the structures. We had put in place the factory, and we had also made enough arrangements for money. That money was supposed to be given to farmers around the Komenda area to be able to produce raw material.
The factory was there.
Had also put in place a
Mr. Suleimana,
that was just
the factory was there. You refurbished the factory. The claim was that you had put in the right equipment. Did you go through all the rigorous processes? Because this administration, you remember, President Akufo-Addo, even in this documentary, mentions that the right things had not been done. And so you had put up the edifice, but what would actually bring sugar was not in existence. In any case, if the little bit of sugar we saw at the time that was produced, was it the raw bit that had been imported that was refined? Because we didn't even have sugarcane at the time. So you must admit that to some degree, some extent, you have also failed. You didn't have the plantations ready. Some of the equipment and everything. I mean, the processes were, not all the processes were in place. What then did you bequeath? You did not bequeath the factory
from
that was working.
From 2017 to date, we wouldn't have personalized the Komenda Sugar Factory. Is that what you are suggesting?
I'm not saying that.
We
I'm
are
just
telling
merely
you
saying
that
you also
we have
bear
put in
part of
place
the
the
blame.
structures, and I want you to go back to the report that was produced by PricewaterhouseCoopers. They had identified some issues, and those issues, if this government had resolved them, by now the factory would have been producing sugar. It would have been creating jobs. Okay? It would have helped in strengthening our currency. So if they have failed to do that, I do not think that we should be blamed for their negligence.
Let me ask you this. Since you're a ranking member of that committee, between now and election time, can anything be done to salvage part of your taxpayers' money, my taxpayers' money, in Komenda? Is there a plan? Can anything be done?
Ben, let me tell you, since I came to Parliament, I serve on the Trade Committee. And you can Google, you can check the records. I have asked more than 15 questions to the Minister of Trade and Industry on Komenda Sugar Factory alone. And I have made statements upon statements with respect to this factory. The last one was when I questioned the deceit of Honorable Kojo Nkrumah, where he said that the minority had refused to approve tax exemptions. And that was why the sugar factory was not operationalized. He had to run away and to say that he didn't say that. So we have been on them, and I think that it is because of that even today they are still making this effort. And so from now to elections, if you ask me, there's little this administration can do. What we want is that the NDC, when we come back to power in 2025, we are giving you an assurance that this factory will be operationalized and it will reduce the importation of sugar into this country and create many, many jobs directly and indirectly for the people of Komenda and its environs.
You could not do it then, but somehow you can do it now. The same person who was president of the country then is the same person who is the leader of your party now. You couldn't do it then, but somehow you can do it now?
Man, we have done enough. What was left was just something small to personalize it. We had put in place source of raw material because we had secured the money. We had put in place a nursery that will just be helping in transplanting the seedlings to the farms. We had put in place the factory itself. We had put in place a management structure. So what was left was to operationalize it in commercial form, and then we left administrative power. We are telling you and we are assuring you that given what we have done and what is left to be done, we can do it and we are ready to do it starting from 2025 onwards.
So, Mr. Simon, let me come in on that particular note, that you're ready to do whatever it takes. Now, the people of Komenda are saying they have the plantation. They've acquired more than 10,000 acres of land to grow sugarcane to feed this factory. So my question to you is, I mean, different sugarcane varieties typically have varying growth period or growth cycles, but it typically takes like 12 to 14 months to mature. What is your plan to actually enable these community residents to plant sugarcane and feed the factory, as against importing unrefined sugar with that tax waiver that the government is talking about?
Yeah, so first of all, as I talked to you, the last time the committee visited the facility, we still have to do some renovations. So as soon as we come, we are going to do those renovations whilst we also engage the farmers to produce the sugarcane. For now, we don't know the variety they are doing. And for the sugar factory to be able to maximize whatever we have in that area, we need to get the right varieties. If it is the right varieties they are doing now, all we do is to give them a technical support, see how we can also advance some money to them to expand the farms, and then we are able to offtake those raw materials from them, and quickly we should be able to start production.
Mr. Sulemana, the question is, are you still going to import unrefined sugar? Although the whole purpose of this factory is to give jobs to the people in these communities and the country. You've waited for this long. This is over more than 8 years, and it's still there. Are you still going to go ahead and import unrefined sugar as compared to us against empowering residents to actually grow sugarcane to feed the factory so they have some way of making ends meet?
Clearly, that is not the plan of the NDC. The NDC, as I said earlier on, we have sourced money to strengthen the local producers, the local farmers, so that they will produce sugarcane for us to buy. So it's not our intention to continue to import unrefined or molasses. No, our intention is to create jobs for farmers. Our intention is to strengthen the farmers by giving them some kind of financial support, giving them technical support, so that they can produce the variety that we want, so we are able to use that to manufacture. It is not our intention to import semi-processed sugar. That's not why the factory was set up.
Mr. Sulemana, this will be my final bit on this conversation. One, I think there's more to, if you look at TOR, you look at Komenda, I think there's more than meets the eye. I think there's something that the rest of us are not seeing, because I look at the 8 years of Atta Mills, John Mahama, and even before that, Kufuor, Rawlings, and then I look at this administration and the promises that have been made, I think there's something somewhere that we are not being told, because I simply don't get it. But if you look at the footage I am looking at right now, and you look at the state of the Komenda Sugar Factory, what it means is that we've wasted a lot of money, a lot of the equipment, a lot of the roofing. Look at it. It's a rust bucket. It has rusted away. It means we are going to have to expend a lot more money to do these things again, or whatever it may take to get there. Is it worth our money, or is it time for you, the politicians, maybe to tell us, you know what, this project, we have to leave it for a while and invest money in something else? Let's be practical. What's your take?
Hello, Ben, can you quickly repeat this? The fly is making noise, so I couldn't get you.
Okay, in simple terms, I'm asking, a lot of the equipment in Komenda, the facility, it has rusted away. We're going to have to expend more money to get it running, if ever. I'm asking, does it make monetary sense? Or should we set this aside for now and admit that, you know, this is a failed project and we may need more time when we have more resources, we get back to it?
I think that it's all about commitment. When we resume power, what we need to do is to quickly assess the state of it. You and I are only looking at it from outside. We don't know the damage that has been caused as a result of the neglect by this government. And so we need to first of all do the assessment. But I think that it's a project that is worth investing in. And so at the end of the day, given the high level of commitment of the NDC administration to ensure that we don't import sugar into this country, we will look at the processes very well and look at the cost-benefit analysis that we'll have to do. If we have to get money to invest in it, so be it. But I think that is a good project that we need to continue.
All right. He just said so we don't import sugar into the country, but I'm sure you're fully aware that it will not take just Komenda to stop importing
At least
sugar
it will
into the
reduce it drastically if we're able to do what we intended doing.
Right.
I accept that point, but
And,
to say we will not import sugar into
Ben,
the country,
I do want to go to Isaac Mensah, but there's something I want clarity on. Mr. Sulemana, you are still ranking member on this committee in Parliament, aside being a member of the NDC. And everything you've said so far, you're saying that, and we, the NDC, don't intend to do this, and the NDC don't intend to do that. In your current position, what are you doing about the state of this Komenda Sugar Factory as we speak?
Yeah, so in my current position as a ranking member, like I said earlier on, I've been on the minister and I've been on the ministry with respect to this Komenda Sugar Factory. And I think that it is the pressure we are putting on them. The last time when the Minister of Trade and Industry, Honorable Katie Hamo, came and I asked him questions on this sugar factory, he got annoyed, okay, and he felt so embarrassed. Again, when Kojo Oponkroma went and lied to them, that it was because of the minorities' unreadiness to approve tax exemption. That's why this project has come to a standstill. I also raised the issue, and he was also embarrassed. Given that, I think that they are giving it a second thought, and they are doing what they are trying to do now, even though that will not be enough. So we are doing our part as a minority. We have raised this issue several times on the floor of Parliament.
Right.
We have engaged the media on this matter. We have visited the facility, and we have interacted with the people of Komenda, and I can tell you that they are aware of the level of commitment that we have shown with respect to this particular project.
Great.
What
So
we
you've done
need
your best.
now is to vote these people out, and then I can assure you, I am assuring you, that you see, anytime somebody starts a project, the person would have thought through it very well before starting it. Another person taking over may not have the very reasons why it was set up. And that's where the difference is. Again, this government didn't want the Mahama administration to take that credit. And that is why they decided to neglect it. And now there's pressure on them, and they're finding excuses.
All right, Mr. Sulemana, just in a bit we'll be wrapping up, but hold for me. Let me go to Isaac Mensah. Isaac, I'm sure you've listened to Mr. Yusuf Sulemana.
Sure, yeah.
What are
Yeah,
your
I heard Mr.
reactions? Quickly,
Sulemana.
make it brief for me.
A point of correction. The factory was built from the scratch during Mahama administration. It was not something that rehabilitated or let's say, because I heard the man that they said they came to rehabilitate the factory. No, the place was a virgin land, and they came to do foundation. They built the factory from the scratch to where it is. So that is why I said the current president or the current government said The factory, those who built the factory didn't do the due diligence. They should have planted the sugarcane before doing the factory, which was wrong because sugarcane would take you the maximum by 8 months. Then it's matured. If it's 1 year and over, it will finally lose its strength. So you won't use it for the milling, you will not get the sugar that you wanted to produce the sugar. So that is why they decided to build the factory. After building the factory, then they will finally go to the sugarcane plantation.
Right.
And I quite remember they did that. And I remember very well that during the time they completed the factory, they did test runs. They brought sugarcane from the hinterland, from Shaman and other places, for the machine to try. They tried and then they produced sugar. I won their visit, not that they said. I was there myself and I saw the production, how the whole thing went round. From MPP, so many people who saw it, not that they say. And even I took some of the sugar myself to keep it as an evidence. But unfortunately now, I consumed it long ago. I got at the most about half with me. So I don't know what is happening. Now they were saying there was no due diligence begun. Now, how long for you to plant sugarcane? How long?
All right.
You have been in power for 8 good years now. 7 years to 8 years. At least take 1 year to build sugarcane farms. Then finally you come and do whatever you wanted to do. But so now I cannot see any other thing. That's why I said the government of the day, there's nothing they can do to convince the people of Ghana, Komenda and its environs. Whatever they will come and do is just a game that they want to play with us. It's a politics that they just want to come and play with us. We are sick and tired for those lies.
Right.
We are just waiting for any government or any person who is ready to come and put this place in order so that the people of Komenda and its environs will get job to do. Because the factory serves the region and the nation as well. As I told you, if it comes to Komenda, we have all the citizens of Ghana represent here, born and bred as a citizen of Komenda as I speak to you now.
Thank you so much. Isaac Mensah is opinion leader at Komenda, and he's helping to shed light on the state of that factory. We also spoke to ranking member on Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee in Parliament.
So let me just say that I agree with Isaac that the factory was built from the scratch. That must be made very clear, and it was not as if it was rehabilitated or something. That point must be made very clear.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yusuf Suleimana, ranking member on
I'm grateful.
Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee in Parliament. Thank you for joining the conversations. Benjamin.
Well, like I said, from Tor to Komenda, it's just a sad picture in our country. If you look at how many millions we have spent over the last 2 decades on one
Nearly
project.
100.
So one project, you spend so much money and the project hasn't even taken off. It's not yielding anything to the country. Look at this. Look at this. But anyway, from there, we're also going to be getting into the pensions conversation. But before we go into that, let's tell you about Dan's World Services. If you're stressed out about all your cleaning needs, worry no more. Dan's World Services is your one-stop shop that meets all your commercial and residential cleaning needs, from pest control, janitorial and house cleaning, event cleaning and waste management, carpet and sofa cleaning, and more. Whether at home or at work, we understand and know how haptic cleaning can be coupled with your busy lifestyle. We've got great news for you. Dan's World Environmental and Facility Management Services has got you covered. You know how we do it. We excel in whatever we do, leaving you beyond your wildest expectations. If you're looking for us, we're easy to find. We can be found at Excel House opposite the Regimanal Estate, Nungwa Barrier, or call us on these numbers, 0302 905 538 or 0555 752 361. Dan's World Services, beyond expectation.
I really should call them one of these days, huh? Yeah, but
cleaning done.
Yeah. This is a gentle reminder that your favorite podcast show, Bus Stop Diaries, now airs every Saturday at 4 p.m. on the Joy News channel. So you can also watch and listen to all your favorite episodes on Joy News on YouTube channel, on myjoyonline.com, on Apple Podcast, on TuneIn, on Google Podcast and Spotify. Grab a chilled drink. Tomorrow is a Saturday, and join us for another exciting journey filled with trending buzz. That's it for Bus Stop Diaries. And we are going to continue with the next conversation. Benjamin was just telling us about that thought leadership, and you hosted it. Great work, Benjamin. The conversations were all encapsulating.
Great work to the team.
Yes, to the team, yeah.
But we're going to give you some snippets of what transpired here yesterday when we had that national pensions dialogue. After that, we'll get into the conversation.
Over half of its shares in 4 hotels sparked controversy, leading to massive worker protest against the deal tied to the Minister of Agric. After months of dispute, SSNIT cancelled the sale under pressure. Many now see SSNIT as a sinking ship in urgent need of reform to secure pension funds. Speaking on the Joy News Thought Leadership Program, the General Secretary of the Public Services Workers Union of TUC, Bernard Ejay, stated that the current benefits are inadequate and unsatisfactory.
I mean, we are very much concerned because the truth is that majority of pensioners from the public sector, especially those with Public Services Workers Union, are receiving very low pensions.
The consensus around the table was same. SSNIT has failed with its mandate. Dr. Kwabena Nyako Otu is the Director of Research at TUC.
They have not lived up to our expectations if you focus on SSNIT.
For some of them, the main problem is the governance and politicization of SSNIT.
Because consistently we have seen that there are governance problems with SSNIT. There are operational problems with SSNIT.
SSNIT and its management of our pension resources have not been the best. And I don't need to elaborate. All the things we have known about SSNIT over the last few years illustrate clearly that pension fund management is a serious problem in this country.
Independent researcher Abdullah Mashoud, who is the executive director of Africa Center for Pension Research, believes the problem is far worse.
The Social Security in Ghana has gone through a number of phases. In fact, from independence in 1957, we have had 7 major legislative reforms as far as Social Security is concerned, including 3 amendments. Now, what has happened over the period is that we have the most recent one, which has to do with the implementation of the Act 760, that is the 3-tier pension system. A few years after the implementation, that is about 13 years after the implementation of the Act 766, I can confidently tell you that the objectives of the Act 760 or the reforms in 2008 has not been fully realized. And what were the objectives? The first objective was to enhance retirement income security to the Ghanaian pensioner when they retire, and also to set up uniform rules and regulation for the administration and payment of benefits in Ghana. Those were the 2 objectives. And about 81% of employers who are employing between 1 to 30 employees are not paying Social Security contributions under Tier 2. And that is as a result of, issues with enforcement of compliance. Again, if you take a look at Ghana Statistical Service data, what we are finding is that even within the formal sector, we are finding that about 26% of those who work in the formal sector, mostly in private establishment, are not covered by the basic national social security system, let alone Tier 2. So coverage is a very big issue, and I'm saying we have significant disparities along the lines of tiers, Tier 1, Tier 2 disparities, gender, and sector of work. We are talking about private, public, and we are talking about informal and formal.
Labor expert Austin Game says there are more lapses.
For now, the accountability aspect and responsibility on the part of the governing the structure is not adequately in place. And I think that once that can be taken care of, that should go a long way to solve the problem.
But SSNIT would have none of that. Chief Actuary at SSNIT, Joseph Poku, says payments are done by the book.
Lowest earner will be based on the minimum wage, the national minimum wage. You cannot pay contributions below the national minimum wage. That is the monthly equivalent of the daily national minimum wage, which now is around almost 400 Ghana cedis also. Probably if we were to be going strictly according to the law, according to the formula in the law, the person wouldn't even get a 300 cedis. But because of the administrative instruction that we can't pay anything below 300. That is why it's even getting the thing. At the same time, somebody is getting 187,000 Ghana cedis every single month. And in January, coming January, this person getting 187 is most likely you'll get over 200,000 a month.
He also says they are working to rope in more contributors.
We have embarked on this program, and somebody mentioned it, the self-employment enrollment drive initiative started last year. As at the time, we had about around 14,000 people who had signed up. And as we speak, about 2 weeks ago, when I checked the data, we had over 100,000 now. So multiple folds. So that's the way we feel that it should go, because that is the fuel for the scheme.
The panelists believe that there must be major reforms in the pensions industry to bring it back on track.
It's important that we strategically, as organized labor, also look at going into the future, representation on any kind of board when it comes to these investments, prepare our people well, follow up on them, engage them, get them expert advice so that they can do their work well. One important thing is also about the unification of pensions. It is not the best. You know, when the pension reforms came into being, it was only the army that was exempted. As we speak, all the security forces have gone into captivity. So where is the unification of pensions here?
Right.
Meanwhile, we know they are not contributing a penny to their pensions. But at the end of the day, the benefits they have in terms of lump sum is way more than those of us who are contributing to our pensions.
And it becomes even worse when the single spine salary structure has also not lived up to expectations.
Exactly.
So you lose from both ends.
Exactly. So we must ensure that if it's going to be the pension reforms that have come into place since 2010, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, every worker should be put in here. And we shouldn't be having capacity and the rest, because then we all know capacity is way better, way more than what the tier 2, for example, provides. And from what we've heard, we look at the restructuring of SNIT in terms of its governance, management, administrative processes, and all of that.
Must the law, the act itself be touched?
The law, yes.
Must the act be touched?
Yes. Of course.
Okay.
Of course, and I think organized labor can lead in this direction. We cannot wait for any entity to start this, and that is why, personally, I'm happy our technical committee has started working. I'm sure this is going to be one of the recommendations they are going to make, and we are going to take it up seriously and work towards it.
We have to look at the pension redistribution policy. I have always had the view that the way Senate is indexing pensions, I think it's about time we look at it. We need to reform it a little bit to reflect fully the principle of solidarity. You have a pension payroll where 7% of those rich pensioners in the upper bound control about 32%. Whereas we have
what percentage did you mention? So the top tier?
7%.
7% control over 30%.
Over 30% in the upper bound. Whereas we have 68% in the lower bound, controlling just 37%. It is just telling us that there is something wrong with the way we redistribute pensions.
Now, if you look, there's a cap on the second tier and third tier management in terms of expenses or expenditure in managing the funds. Whereas if you look at SNIT expenditure, and in your introduction, you did mention some figures, there seem not to be a cap. And SNIT expenditure, we believe most of the funds, instead of going either into investment or accruing to the benefit of the members, is going into the management of the fund.
Although the labor unions, as the largest contributors to SNIT, are calling for the reduced government influence on the board, Dr. Kwabena Nyako is advising them to proceed with caution.
You have the head of the board being a journalist. Now, if you go to Denmark and if you go to South Africa, there's a criteria for being a member of their pension funds. We don't have it. Even in our own law, the MPRA, there's a criteria for being appointed a member of MPRA board, but there's no criteria for being a member of the SNIT board.
So there you have it, on that very important conversation. And congratulations to the team. It's a joint effort between Joy News and key stakeholders, hosted by the able man himself, Benjamin Akakpo. We do want to hear your thoughts on this. We already have a caller, but maybe let's take his views, and then I'll share some key insights and recommendations that came from yesterday's national dialogue with the rest of you. Emmanuel is calling us now. Emmanuel, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
What's on your mind, Emmanuel?
I watched the program yesterday.
Okay, great.
And let me say that, first of all, let me commend you for the program. And also, I work in the informal sector. And initially, I wasn't contributing to SNAKE. I wasn't making any contribution. But one of their workers convinced me to start. I would say, as an institution, that the SNAKE as an institution, I didn't believe in their institution. That's why I wasn't contributing to SNAKE. But I was doing other investments for myself. But what I realized from the discussion yesterday was that since I have started contributing, I realized I have to increase my premium because you interviewed a pensioner, a lady, who was saying that his cousin was receiving about 300 cedis a month. And I realized that if I don't increase my premium, it means that in some years to come, what I'm going to earn will be nothing. So I will have to increase my premium so that I will earn more. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for sharing those thoughts with us.
Interesting thoughts.
Yeah.
The basic now anyone can earn is around 432 Ghana cedis or something. But you ask yourself, what can you do with 432 Ghana cedis?
Very small amount. But yes, so from that conversation yesterday, acknowledging the critical importance of a robust pension system for the financial security of retirees in Ghana, the National Dialogue, in collaboration with joinees, like I mentioned, and key stakeholders, aim to address pressing issues and propose actionable solutions to enhance efficiency and sustainability of the pension system. I do want to share the key recommendations and next steps with you, but we have another caller on the line. Maybe he also watched the program yesterday. Good morning. Tell me your name and where you're calling from. My producer said it, but...
Good morning, my dear.
Great. What's on your mind this morning?
Yeah, calling from Sugar Factory.
Okay, great. What's on your mind? Share your thoughts with us.
Yeah, I watched the program yesterday night. My position is that Mr. Benjamin, kudos, more peace to everyone. Kudos for
Thank you.
Good job done. All that I want to say is that this state board people should go. Organized labor should come from and let all those state board members, NPRA members, all they should go. Workers should take over the job, and they should position their members, competent ones, to do the work for the workers. The money doesn't belong to the government. The money belongs to the workers. So they should allow workers to take control of their own money so that they can invest it well. I wish you well.
We wish you well too. Thank you so much. And that's, I think that also came up in the discussions yesterday. But let me quickly run through this. So the very first one is on enhancing supervisory role of the NPRA. The National Pensions Regulatory Authority should enhance its supervisory role and ensure continuity in governance to maintain stability and confidence in the pension system. 2, in terms of limiting government interference, government should refrain from appointing board members to SNIT and NPRA. And this includes limiting the President's power in appointing the Director General of SNIT, the Board of Trustees, and NPRA's management and board members. In terms of worker representation on the SNIT board, a majority of SNIT board seats should be appointed by workers to ensure that their interests are adequately represented. I'll put a pin in it here, and then let's go to Isaac on the phone. Isaac, good morning. Thanks for joining the conversation.
Good morning, dear. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. What's on your mind?
Good. I watched the program yesterday, and what I can say about it is that I think the contributors to this thing really need to be educated well, because you will not understand it until you enter into it. So I use my father as an example. When he came home from work, and we look at how much he received at the end of the month, I noticed it's nothing to take home. So personally, I advise myself that instead of me investing with Snake, I'd rather do long-term investment with my bankers. That's the best option. If you really want to enjoy your age, your
retirement
life
years,
or whatever,
yeah.
better start investing with your banks. Buy long-term investment, that will help. And forget about the business issues. Seriously, anything that is being managed, that's by my experience, that anything that is being managed by the government seems to be, something that does not really favor those who spend the peso in it. So to me, I even wish if the Senate will even be shut down completely. We know we don't have Senate here because we don't benefit. Nothing goes on with we who, I mean, I would say because me, I met up my mother, I won't go there. So those who are there, just raise money, buy long-term investment, fund with the bankers, and then look at what will happen to you when,
right.
I mean, you think it's time for you to also benefit from there. That will give you much more money or much more profit than to with that money with the Senate. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm not sure, I don't want us to discourage.
But that is sad because now he's saying he has no trust in the system.
Yeah.
And rather than go this way, you know, one thing that emerged from yesterday, what SNIT gets by way of revenue, the tier 2, I don't know whether it's tier 2 and 3 or just one of them, they are earning about twice as much.
Yeah.
The question is, why are people willing to go to private enterprise for tier 2 and 3 and pay so much, and yet they are not willing to do so?
Because like the doc said, 81% are not being paid tier 2 social security. And that's the situation we are in. Clifford also joins us on the phone. Clifford, good morning. Where are you calling from?
Good morning. I'm calling from Dakuman.
Dakuman, great. Clifford, what are your thoughts?
Yes, so I'm saying that we have lost interest in trust in SNIT. Because if you have this trustee on the board and they can able to take a decision without our consent, our interest, then it's an issue. Because when you compare the SNIT, our scheme here to outside, is that we are taking, our parents are taking less than the minimum that is supposed to get. Because if someone is getting like 500 cedis, what is less than even $300. It's very, look at the economy. Then we can take a decision. Then, without the interest of the labor commission, the workers, that is very bad. Then we can't put our trust in. No, there's no need for the even SNIT to be in place. Now I'm saying that I'm trying to suggest that SNIT should publish all its assets. We should know what our investment is going to. So that now they should make account to every investment that they use our money for. Because this is the money. This is workers' money that we contributed. Our parents contributed. And later, then you take decision that they favor the state. Now it's very bad. So my interest is SNIT should publish, to make to every investment from beginning. So now, so I was able to do that, okay, because we can some of the assets of SNIT that is in a very bad stage that someone will tell, this is a SNIT house. When you go there and see that, it's in a very bad stage.
Right.
So people's money, those who make account of every investment that they've done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clifford from Dakuman. We also have Herbert from Mampong Equiapim on the line with us. Herbert,
hello.
What are your thoughts?
Yes. My thought is just simple. I did a little simulation on the SNIT and then the tier 2. And I believe if you look at the way SNIT is managing our funds, comparing to the tier 2, I think the 13.5% should rather be channeled to the tier 2 for our investment. Because if you look at the growth of the tier 2, as compared to the tier 1, which is being managed by SNIT, the tier 2 is currently doing better. If you are a worker and you check your statement for tier 2 and compare it to tier 1, I think SNIT is just wasting our funds. And rather, the 30.5 should rather be given to the tier 2 to be managed. And then the 5% should go to SNIT. I think it's one of the best alternatives. Because if you look at the way the tier 2 is being managed, it's far better. I checked my statement on the tier 2 fund, and it's quite better as compared to what SNIT is doing. And that the 30.5 should rather go to the tier 2, the tier 2 to manage, and then the 5% should go to SNIT. And then, as my earlier colleague just said, I think the entire structure of SNIT must be changed. The workers must have the maximum number of people on the board as compared to what is currently happening, and the government has so much influence in managing the tier 1. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Herbert from Mampong. We have Vincent on the line as well. After Vincent, maybe we'll go through the rest of the recommendations and then we can wrap up. Vincent. That's not a good sound to hear. Is Vincent still on the line with us? Okay, Vincent is gone. So on actual knowledge of for board members, some of the recommendations say that board members of SNIT and NPRA should possess actual knowledge to make informed decisions regarding the management and sustainability of pension funds. And that makes clear sense. No need to get into that too much. Vincent,
yes,
you're back on the line with us.
Yes, I'm on the line.
Great. What's on your mind?
So my problem is about the workers of SNIT. I want to find out how much of the investment from SNIT do you use to pay the SNIT workers? Is it not the investment from SNIT or the what we get from SNIT, is it not the same amount of money that is used to pay the SNIT workers? I want to find out from you.
What's the question again?
What I'm saying is, I want to find out those working at SNIT. What money do we use to pay them? Is it the proceeds of SNIT income that is used to pay them?
Is that, Benjamin, is that what you were saying? Yeah, it's government's money.
Taxpayers' money. You could say that it is.
What's the point?
That it isn't. It is.
No,
it's still taxpayers' money.
My point is, those working at SNIT, I think they use most of our money, the SNIT investment, to pay them. Unlike the workers, those who are supposed to earn from SNIT, that is the pensioners. That is one of my problems. So maybe that place should also be checked.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think that's all the time would allow us to engage with you, but I'm sure we can make this available for those who are interested. We do have to go, but if I can run through it, organized labor should only appoint experienced members and train them to ensure.
Ralph, before we.
Ralph is on the line. Hi, Ralph.
Yes, hello.
Talk to me.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Madam, I just want to touch on the conversation you had on the Komenda Sugar Factory with the parliamentarian. Yeah, what I want you people to do is, this very interview that you had with the parliamentarian, kindly record it and send it to NDC caucus, because people are monitoring whatever the parliamentarian said. We want to hold him accountable on this very interview. So kindly record it, and intermittently, you remind NDC that these days, we had interview with your parliament, your MP on the Komenda Sugar Factory. Now you come to power. So then we compare the man's responses to what they may be saying. If they will be saying different things, apart from this interview, after they have won the election, then you do the comparison. Also, Uncle Ben, you were touching on the nature of the rusting. But what I want to add is, concerning the proximity of the plant to the sea, that the rusting nature may occur even if the plant is in operation. But what may have prevented is the periodic maintenance that will have prevented the rusting nature. But the plant can be renovated as soon as possible, and I'm assuring you that you have expertise in the country who can bring the pantry, who can bring the plant into life, because the rusty equipment are the structures, and they form the rusty equipment that form about 20%. The motors, the sensors, all are in good position, so the plant can run. So, Uncle Ben, I want you to, as I said earlier on, record this very message we had with the MP. Then after they come to power, you pray to them.
Thank you. Thank you for those thoughts.
All right, Uncle Ben.
You had to do that.
I had to do that. We do have to go. We'll find a way to make the recommendations available to you if you're interested to know what the result of that national dialogue was. But there's still more coming your way on the AM show. We'll be back in a jiffy.